Leslie, I wanted to leave you some feedback on your rough draft. First off, don't forget to include your header in the upper right hand corner. Remember that's your last name and your page number. Uh, and there's a tutorial on how to create that in the resources folder in MLA. Um, I, I really like your title. I don't know. It just made me chuckle. I think you're hitting on a lot of good details in this draft. I really love the details about your grandfather in particular, and like all of this in here is so concrete and factual, and it really paints a picture of who your grandpa is. Um, and I also really like the details about your family. It's clear that you're very close, right? You're very close as a family, and that's great to hear. So I see two places, right? Physical places coming up in this draft. Joplin, Missouri, uh, and you say smack dab in the middle. So actually, it might be kind of three places: Joplin, Missouri. So that means the Midwest, to be more specific, Southwest Missouri, and then also New England, right? Because you bring up, there's so many. You got that list of all those states in New England, which of course, has some overlap with the U.S., right? But at the same time, I kind of feel like New England is its own little culture that's like separated from Southwest Missouri, right? Southwest Missouri is our own little culture too. So here's what I'm thinking. You got a lot of great details in here, but this is what I want to see in the final draft. You need to describe place in rich detail, and you need to have that clear narrative arc with that beginning, middle, and end. You've got a lot of good detail here, but what I don't quite see yet is a fully realized story. And remember, I said in class this week that's probably what happened in this draft, and that's okay. But note that in the next draft, what I want to see is you honing in on a specific story, and maybe it's something about your grandpa. So did because you write so much about him. So did your experience with your grandpa kind of shape your idea of family, that really kind of helped you weather that what I perceive to be a hardship with your parents' divorce? I don't know if that's something that you want to talk about or you feel comfortable talking about. You certainly don't have to, but that's one thing that I was kind of thinking about. Um, but really, what you want to do in here is think about capturing a specific place in more detail, and really thinking about that full narrative arc, right? So, what story are you going to tell? What's the beginning? What's the middle with that moment of change? And then finally, what is the conclusion? I do want to talk to you a little bit about your sentences. For the most part, they're pretty clear, but there's a few places here and there where they're really lengthy. Here's an example of one. This would probably be better suited to be broken down in maybe two or three separate paragraphs, not paragraphs, excuse me, sentences. So let me read this out loud to you. My grandmother and her brothers and their families are very close, and oftentimes we'll have get-togethers. I think you mean get-togethers, such as camping or family reunions, Bible studies. They are all Christian. So sometimes they will even go on mission trips to places like Haiti. And throughout my childhood, I would sometimes go to church with my grandmother when she was in town. So you really have a run-on sentence here, and that means that there's more than one sentence all smushed together with no punctuation. So I want you to pay attention to that. My guess is you got into a hurry and you rushed this, and that's okay, in a rough draft. But you want to edit for that stuff in your final draft. So make sure that you're going back and editing for those things, because they'll cause issues for your reader. They won't be able to follow your ideas with ease. So yeah, that's what I really want to see from you. Describing place in rich detail and that fully realized narrative.